Here I want to show you how you can add a light source to your game. I'm in the Parthenon project that I created in a previous video. If you don't have that project, you can certainly add this with just starting from an empty template. What we want to do is add light to this building. If I go in and walk around, you'll notice that it's kind of dark in here and we can't really see. So what we'll want is we need some sort of light source. So to do that, let's go ahead and right here, let's add a part. Let's go to the Model tab and let's add a sphere. And let's bring that sphere up a little bit and let's focus in on that. Press the letter F to focus in. And from here, let's give it some material. So go ahead and select material and let's select rock. Let's see, let's do slate, and then let's give it a darker color. So we've got kind of this rock formation of a lamp. What we're trying to do is we're going to make a lamp out of this that attaches to the wall. To do that, let's go ahead and create a block, and what we want is to set this up so that the block cuts through half of it. So let's resize this and turn off collisions. Sorry, let's go ahead and turn off collisions. And now notice how the block cuts through it. Let's make sure it goes all the way over and all the way through. And notice it goes halfway through. Perfect. Now let's duplicate that. And notice how it duplicated it, and since we don't have collisions on it, kept it right there. So let's go ahead and resize this. Let's make it about this big, and let's move it down. And basically what we want is to cut off the top half. So see how that's, we're cutting off the back of it and the top of it. So now press Control and select both of these and turn on negate. And then go ahead and select the ball itself. And so press Control and select the ball. So now all three are selected. And then click Union. And now check it out. We've got ourselves a little shape that we can use as a lamp. Okay, next we want to give ourselves a little ball to place in the center of this to be the source of the fire. And I'm going to change this color a little bit. Let's make this a little brighter. Let's go ahead and let's change this material. Let's change it to cobblestone, and then let's lighten up the color a little bit. Okay. All right, now let's go ahead and add a ball to this. So go ahead and click Part and add a sphere. And then we need to resize this sphere quite a bit because it's kind of big. And let's bring it up here. And we're going to line this so that it sits in the center. Let's shrink it down just a little bit. Let's turn off move so that we can move this in and get a more precise location. So we're centering it in the middle here. There we go. So now, and let's change the part of this material. Let's make it slate, and let's change the color to make it darker. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and select both of these parts and combine them. Let's group them together. So I'm going to press Control and select. So now both of them are selected, and what we want is to group these. So you can come over here under the model and choose Group. So now, let's go ahead and call this a light. And next we want to add some fire so we can actually get some effects on it. And the way to do that is let's go and select this part, and then we're going to add fire. Now at this point the fire is kind of big and it's sticking out the back. It's a little too big for what we want. Go ahead and select the fire and scroll down, and let's change the size to maybe 4, and then it turns it to a little smaller, and the heat, let's make this a 4 so it's not quite as tall. And since it'll be against the wall, we don't need to worry about that, but for now that looks about right. Now the thing is, this is an effect, and the effect itself does not actually produce light. So let's go ahead and move this into our building, and I'm using the arrow keys and the camera keys, and let's focus on this guy. And so now we're actually on the wall, and let's place this high enough that I'm not going to walk into it as a character. And now notice it actually isn't producing light, it's just an effect. So to make it produce light, go ahead and select the part itself, and then let's add a point light. Now we have our point light, and from here we can select the point light and we can determine a couple of things. One, we want it to, let's change the color, because right now this is putting off a very white color, which is not the color of the flame. So let's change that. Go ahead and select that, and let's make it darker, kind of an orange, something like that. So now notice how the light itself is the right color. And then finally, the range, we can change this, and you can kind of determine how much light each one of these should produce, and that's kind of up to you. So we'll leave it right about there. So let's go ahead and duplicate this light, and let's duplicate it again, and now we've got ourselves some lights. Alright, let's go ahead and play and see how well it looks. What happened? What happened? Oh no. Can anyone tell us what happened? Alright, I know what happened. Let's stop. We forgot to anchor these. Someone was probably watching going, hey, you forgot to anchor, you forgot to anchor, it's all going to fall apart. I couldn't hear you, I'm sorry. So let's fix that. Go ahead and select these lights and come back here and click anchor. So now each one of these should be anchored. If you scroll down, and it says these parts are all anchored. Perfect. So now let's run it. There we go. Look at that. It's a thing of beauty. Look at that. I love it. Now we've made ourselves some lights. Congratulations. Again, remember, if anything, if you run the game and things start falling apart, it's because we forgot to anchor them. Awesome. Well, thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.